Holy shit. Holy shit.
Today, and it will be the Shanghai Dragons. Esperanza goes the way of the San Francisco Shock. The early lead they had has.
Ich möchte aber zu dem Match sagen, dass Lip das hart gecarried hat für Dragons. Definitiv. Dragons, oh, Lip im Speziellen hat es hart gecarried. Und jetzt gehen wir Rank.
Kind of maps and points
Here you go.
to get here. I also think it's not the same team. You can't really kind of treat it as the same Atlanta Reign, right, with a new tank in the mix.
Absolutely. And that's why our expectations kind of need to be set for a different look team. This Atlanta Reign team, rather. Already Hydron making some intimations in the match chat. Definitely the expectation that Florida May can continue to come out strong. Atlanta had better hope that this mix-up, this last-minute change, is conducive to some more success for them. Because after the season they've had, we expect Atlanta to have gone a little bit better, a little bit earlier on in these playoffs. But the Mayhem are not a team to ever doubt. And we expect to see, Matthew, here pretty standard compositions, right? Shouldn't be any big mix-ups so far.
Interesting.
I would be shocked if we see some kind of like large shake-up. Maybe you see the Orisa come out. We see the Outlaws with Dante use that at times, but kind of fully expect this mirror matchup to continue to play out through the majority of the playoffs.
Okay, already Hydron gets identified as playing an off-angle and...
Okay, actually, weil ich das eine Zeit lang nicht gemacht habe. Wenn wir jetzt 2 oder 3 Tage Pause hatten. Die Comp beruht darauf, dass Soldier im One-Shot landen tut. Und das Game ist over. Stirbt einer deiner Supports, Game over. Stirbt ein Tank, Game over. Der Reaper, kinda okay. Das ist ein huge Pick auf Kai.
After repositioning, he zeroes in on the enemy Sojourn and removes him from the map. And OG fares a little better, lingering a little too long in those crosshairs himself.
Nice one.
Because you know the Florida Mayhem Hydron is so good on this Sojourn
Right, it
that he
Love
starts
it.
to get rolling. You know, it's kind of like how Kai is on the other side. When Kai gets rolling, he's so difficult to stop. You don't want to see Hydron start to pop off.
Well, so far so good for the Mayhem and Hydron here. Atlanta already back to start another fight. Marjed, a little bit of an extension there. He's able to swiftly walk away to his Winston. And look at this, just Mayhem responding very well to these probes from the Atlanta Reign. Gator just gets caught amongst all of them.
Yeah, it's, really nothing that they can do to get back towards the point, right? 30% counting here for the Florida Mayhem. Death Blossom here for the Atlanta Reign, so maybe they can actually make a play for this. Is someone not close to
Das ist actually winnable? Das war ein huge Blossom.
Fairly early in that fight, and a successful Death Blossom there from Miro. Good way to come alive in this round, as he is accounting for 4 out of the 6 final.
Not gonna lie, ich hätte den Blossom hier gesaved, aber huge Play.
Good way to turn up and start to get some percentage on the board here for Atlanta. Of course, Kitsune rushes are now online for both these teams.
Problem ist, jetzt muss Mayhem das pushen. Und der Punkt ist halt ekelhaft, rein zu pushen.
Things are about to get a little hairy.
Und das richtig halt pusht.
Yeah, online for both teams, but you're going to have someone with this Primal Rage and then also Ammo with the Sound Barrier a little bit earlier. So I think you can play a little bit more aggressive here to take the point back if you're Florida.
Checkmate's TP from the backside here, trying to get behind his Kitsune. Rush is coming out.
Beide Kitsunes.
So far, and Checkmate's going to be the first to fall. He's discovered in the backline another Primal Rage from someone, really pressuring Kai. He waits and catches the falling Kai like a damsel. And that's it for him. The Atlanta Reign now struggling as they push into the middle of the map, and someone just gets his jump online. Able to clamber back out of the pit and now look to pressure the remainder of the Atlanta Reign. They still hold the point right now. We're losing Hydron here again. Less than ideal.
Yeah, you see for that brief moment there from Ultraviolet. He says, Immortality, the protection Suzu there just keeps Gator himself and OG alive for a split second.
Ich weiß nicht, worüber ich hier reden soll.
Someone incredibly able to live.
Das ist einfach ein Massive Fight.
Already halfway up to another Primal Rage. I kind of just see how awesome he is on that Winston. But also, I think kind of like one of the
Sieht aus wie so ein Rank-Game. Nero hat hier keinen Idiot-Advantage. Macht aber auch nicht viel. Keins der Teams ist wirklich
Moving
wild.
forward in Overwatch 2, right? A tank that can truly play everything.
He's only got 1 death so far. 3 final
Für den
points in his
Fighter.
game. And to compare, I mean, Gator has 3 deaths. I mean,
Backman
Gator's getting
sollte hier aber auch Blasen bekommen.
by the Mayhem when he tries to engage. Speaking of which, that's happening right now. Bubble going to be thrown down here by someone, but Hydron has his safe pocket to play in.
Ich würde erwarten, dass der Blossom Cooldown kommt von beiden Teams. Oh no!
Gets interrupted by Hydron. He can't believe it.
Oh, you could see on his face, he was absolutely stunned. That's where he ended up.
Oh no!
Players here from Florida who are going to be able to contest. You just got to get this up to like that 90, 95%. Oh, they actually get pushed back off the point. You see Animo and a few others still here.
He's able to lock Nero into the pit somehow. I mean, OG tried to
Oh no!
same kind of send-off, but he's
Gehen wir
able
nach
to
beim
play
Brot
around,
gucken.
actually. Hydron was actually booped into the pit by OG there.
Back in a second. Oh my God. Am Dump. Ich habe vergessen, mein Sandwichmaker anzumachen.
There's what happened.
Oh mein
Both
Goodness!
sides here, the Mayhem trying to use it to engage. Someone for the primal rage, looking for Kai at the moment. Sound barrier now expiring off the Atlanta Rain. Someone wants to try and track his quarry, but there are 5 people turning towards him. He has to go for the mega health pack and double back now. Checkmate has a death blossom, but he's a little exposed.
Eine Blossoms.
Nero's gonna go for it. Hydron gets riddled with
Nero macht den
Checkmate wants to
ersten.
reciprocate. He's found Ultraviolet, but at the
Counter
moment,
Blossom.
the Atlanta Rain are up to 93 and counting, and the Mayhem decimated.
Lucky.
As you see it, Mayhem, they're going to go with some desperation picks here towards the end. The Doom, the Tracer, but it doesn't matter. Not able to get a touch. Where the Atlanta Rain take round number 1.
Nero
Ah.
an unbelievable round, Matthew. 9 fun.
Nero hat das gerade am Anfang und am Schluss geklatscht mit seinem Blossom.
16 for his team. His Reaper really on another level early. A lot of pressure being put down on the Mayhem, especially someone who could see.
Dann der Boop auf
Trying to look for
Hydron.
Kai, and is getting thwarted by Nero multiple times.
Das war kein Unfortunate.
Atlanta's got to be such a scary team to play against, especially in this type of scenario. We can take a look from Ultra.
Oh, big.
The protection there right on the Nero. He's able to pick up a few kills.
It's actually big.
Just back up away from Checkmate. Really nice sequence there.
Someone locks himself inside a
Checkmate hätte früher Blossom ziehen müssen, um das zu gewinnen.
damage, but it was already too late.
And do you get a vibe, Mitch, right? Like, you know, putting Gator in, I thought Gator looked, you know, good there on the Winston to kick things off. It's also like, Atlanta is just a scary team in these, you know, lose and go home scenarios, right? It seems like they always, you know, pick up their play in moments like this, where they're not going to be, it's like almost like Florida 3-0ing them the other day just gives them like a little bit of false confidence going into this series. It'll be the same thing, where I think it's a much different team they're playing.
Der Headshoot.
To be doubted, they'd love to be underdogs. They thrive on that negative energy, and you can see it because they kind of invite it a lot of the time, Matthew. Kai to the high ground invites company of Winston right now, and someone will break on down and remove him from the equation. Hydron now can get a bit more aggressive, not worry about being picked off after 12. Nothing across the map. Frustrating, healing overclock there from OG. He's able to bring him down eventually.
Es müsste für Mayhem gehen.
Neither team is capped early. It will be Florida who start with the lead.
Yeah, which is pretty similar to what we just saw in that previous round, you know, on Wells. So Atlanta will have to, you know, bounce back. You see Gator making an actual, you know, really strong attempt constantly to just get in Hydron's face, you know, put that bubble down, block the line of sight, force the Sojourn off of those positions up on the high ground.
Getting close to Kitsune, rush here for Ultraviolet. He's going to be ahead, but they've lost Kai already. Checkmate is able to isolate that key target. And now the Rain look a little bit, I guess, embarrassed with 4 players that have to make their way through the left-hand side. They'll throw Kitsune rush down. That's going to help Ultraviolet's healing output, and of course that haste buff. Nero is looking to make good use of it, but it's a disengage by the Mayhem.
Overclock. Ah!
The Rain uses a little bit
Just in
now,
second.
They actually have to fight. The Mayhem are behind in their durability count, but they have point control. Looks like the Rain are backing away from that Kitsune rush.
Yes, Kai's got an overclock though, so maybe right after this Primal Rage, you'll start to see the Atlanta.
Oh, das wird ein Blossom.
You see someone on him getting both real low.
It takes two to tango, they say, but I think Nero had the right idea there. Checkmate just throws himself into that one. Both Reapers went into raid 4. We knew that was coming. Pretty messy fight.
Oh no. Checkmate, what are you doing? Actually,
Kai again.
like,
Both
See someone.
away from that Kitsune.
ich versteh's dezent.
Yes, Kai's got an overclock.
Wieso TP't er sich nicht einfach hier hin?
So maybe
In dem Moment. TP.
right after this Primal Rage, you'll start to see the Atlanta Rain press.
Ah, jetzt in dem Moment, wo Soldier Backup ist.
See someone on him
TP.
Oh my goodness, it takes two to tango, they say, but I think Nero had the right idea there. Checkmate just throws himself into that one. Both Reapers went into raid 4. We knew that was coming. Pretty messy fight so far, but the Rain are able to...
Checkmate ist viel zu indecisive mit seinem Death Blossom.
Yeah, and you can kind of see what
In dem
Florida
Moment.
was, to even engaged in that fight, right? And someone is using Primal, the sound.
Nero benutzt das Ding auf Cooldown, wenn Checkmate auf
Like they sort
den
of
Moment wartet.
weak, and Checkmate ends up using the Death Blossom trying to save the day as they try and exit, but Atlanta just kind of played that 50-50 stalemate for so long and so good. And then they were able to get away, but look at this, Servajet opens things up with a headshot pick.
Yeah, medium range shot there with the kunai. Great connection, but Checkmate
Das ist
also
scary für Mayhem.
range damage. And Kai now has that overclock. You're asking for a lot of
Au.
up in the air he is, and Kai just picks him off.
Sweet.
Atlanta Rain are going to be able to maintain control for now, and that Kai pick is a big part of it.
Gehen wir auch mal im Essen gucken.
They don't have to
Jetzt, wo der Sandwichmaker an ist.
play from the point here, as if you're Atlanta, you're going to get, probably about even in terms of percentage off of this. This fight should last for a decent amount on the point, but you have that continued rush here to use.
Yeah, Ultraviolet, looking to let that one go pretty much straight away here. Wants the pressure from the front line, needs to be careful, because if he's not healing, then there's not going to be a ton of it going on. Hydron gets caught out again though. This is looking good for the Atlanta Rain. Now they move into the lead behind that Kiriko ultimate, and they have to hope the sound barrier from OG is enough to answer Marchet. He'll be back with a vengeance.
Yeah, this will be the next, really probably the last difficult test for them. So actually, Gator goes in over the top. They're going to sound barrier, try and catch them off guard a little bit.
Someone's seen better days, but he's been topped back up, and Animo's going to have a later sound barrier. If the Mayhem want to fight, now might be the best time. Overhead again goes Gator, Hydron aware of it, so he repositions now towards the point, hoping to try and pressure down, but the protection Suzu was in play. Checkmate's able to pull Kai out of the mix regardless, and Hydron is everywhere at once.
Nice overclock.
He's crept up on him. The overclock's doing some
Oh.
serious work with the bubble dance stuff.
The Reaper
Well
blips.
for Hydron. Gator eventually is able to bring him down, and now it's up to someone with this Primal Rage. You've got the point under your control.
Yeah, but Gator's going to actually Primal. That's the one that I was talking about, as he's knocking players back all over the point here. In favor of the Atlanta Rain, he's going to have some teammates coming back off the spawn. This long, drawn-out fight could be difficult for Florida.
Barter didn't have a protection Suzu available. He also couldn't swift step. He's brought down by Gator, but Checkmate and Hydron are back. And it's now 85 and counting. The Atlanta Rain make it close, but we're into last fight territory here.
Yeah, and I kind of like the idea there from Gator.
Okay, let's see. Good advantage für Rain. Die haben beide DPS, so it's obvious. OG müsste hier Beat bekommen. 3 Ults für Rain. Zarida hat in einem längeren Fight Beat. Und Checkmate hat hier Blossom. Checkmate muss das jetzt mit Blossom ankündigen. Und im Optimalfall OG rausholen. OG oder die Sojourn?
Both, you get both primals.
Einen von beiden.
At that time, you had Kai and Nero alive with you on the point. It's got both of them now, and they both have their ults going in this final fight.
Checkmate got himself into the back line well and truly early. Looking for an opportunity now for a Death Blossom. Does he go for Nero? No, he just takes it to the face. Nero
What?
blossoms first and actually catches Martin somehow. Perhaps he switched step into that fight. Regardless, the Atlanta Rain, they managed to flip the point.
Checkmate, what are you doing?
Just maybe Checkmate is punished.
Er wollte das Reaper 1v1 nehmen.
Too long. The first map in this series
Das ist kein
goes to
1v1.
Atlanta.
And you can see a little bit cleaner there, I think, with Gator in the game. Gator just making, you know, the consistent plays, you know, jumping right on to Hydron, making his life very difficult all throughout. The primal tech is...
Das war eine Reaper-Hilfe. Actually. Checkmate war einfach dead of Cooldown und hat versucht, das von Run zu holen. Nur das Problem war, es war kein 1v1. It's unfortunate.
Right, you know, a little jump start, so to speak.
Absolutely. Something a little fresh here as well, maybe just to allow them to recalibrate a little bit after a very tough start to this playoffs. Florida Mayhem, they lose that first map, so they turn around, they select Eichenwalde for our hybrid battlefield. And again, you know, we're talking about tank selection. We may see Hawk later in the series if we head to something like Circuit Remain season.
Right, in the sense that you beat this team the other day, now you come in, they got a new player in the mix, and you lose map number 1 in an eliminator. How worried are you if you're Florida?
Well, I think you're less worried, maybe more frustrated, because you probably can't get a real read on this Rain squad right now. Especially Hydron is constantly being in check by Gator. You watch him, we see his POV in that first round. He's forced to slide early and often, sometimes into OG's boop, into their well, sometimes just into enemies in general. He's being forced to put himself in some risky positions to avoid just getting flattened by Winston and shut down by the bubble. Gator's done a great job of just neutralizing him. He's Florida Mayhem's, he's one of their biggest weapons here, but if he can't function, it's hard for them to stay in step with this Rain squad, especially with Kai smiling from ear to ear on the other side.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Gator's doing anything flashy, right? You know, not like kind of coming in and looking like Smurf per se, but like just playing the Winston role in a way that he's just trying to take or make Hydron's life extremely difficult. And you think if you can neutralize the Sojourn's effect, you have a pretty good chance in this series.
Florida having to fold back a little bit here as Gator's been probing. You can see his health bar. He's actually able to get out alive, which is huge. That's great for Ultraviolet. It'll top him up and get him back.
Florida hat hier eigentlich den Highground. Problem ist, wenn Hydron jetzt in Highground springt, ist Gator direkt aufheben. Deswegen spielt Hydron hier eher close mit seinem Team. Oh, hat einen Off-Angle? Ja, Mann. Hydron ist dead, ja.
I was wondering if you could fight this, you know, if you're the Atlanta Reign, but now that you've lost your Reaper, I don't think you can as effectively. I think if you would have had Nero stay alive there, you actually could have came back rather quickly, and maybe you're actually able to kind of catch them, you know, further up at the choke and make a play for it. But like, Kisune Rush already here.
I'm surprised someone gives space even without Reaper on the battlefield right now. But maybe it's all part of his plan because he seems to have lured OG into his trap. It's a trade though, and Kai's able to get the better of Hydron for the second time in a row. Ultraviolet tries to run away, but that's the lion's share of the healing now taken away from the Atlanta Reign. But someone gets caught inside the PC shop. That's not what we mean. We say check in PC, ladies and gentlemen. Florida able to outlast though, because Checkmate and Margit stand.
Yeah, and even with that Kisune Rush coming right around the corner from Ultraviolet, and Atlanta actually making you know, a pretty good play for the point. No progress gained. Pretty slow here for the Atlanta Reign at the start.
Wenn Florida jetzt Ult Cycle macht,
sound barrier here, and you'll have your death block.
dann ist das ein Win.
Gator makes the first jump, but he's caught out of position as we see someone make the counter engagement. The Mayhem are waiting for Gator to try and go after Hydron, and that's when they strike. Hydron being pressured once more by
Jesus.
This time gives him a parting gift, that's right. Railgun catches
Nero?
into the hunting lodge, he tries to go, but Hydron posthumously.
That's actually big for Nero.
Disrupt the shot. Now Kai needs to make the flanking play, but his team is gone. He's going to find himself up against the wall.
And Checkmate has gone, you know, he has gone unmarked by the opposing team.
Wenn sie das fast pushen,
like every kill
haben sie Player Advantage.
For the Florida Mayhem is Checkmate, just running around, you know, kill after kill, just.
Das Gute für Atlanta ist, Florida hat ja alle Ults benutzt. Florida hat einfach Q gedrückt und sind noch gewiped. Er müsst hier demnächst Overcup bekommen.
Hydron flips the
Oh my
switch,
God.
actually gets the first pick this time. Florida were winning the fights, even losing him first beforehand. The Animo getting caught there, not great, but look, the mobility not as important for Florida because they're backed up against the back of the point as it is. OG getting zoned away by Hydron, that's a fantastic disruptor shot. And look at Gator, he's caught away from the rest of his team. Easy to drag down by the rest of the Mayhem.
Oh no.
And I think right now, you know, you're seeing the Atlanta Reign so split from each other, right? Gator on like a little bit of a, you know, a flank and off angle. He gets taken out. It's just like that. 30 seconds on the clock here for the Atlanta Reign. They made no progress here on point A. It's been all dominance from the Florida Mayhem.
Sony und Beyblade für Florida. Wenn das nicht reicht, haben die Overclock und die. Atlanta hat hier maybe Overclock, maybe Primal. Einer muss ja Q drücken. Checkmate! Ah, Checkmate! Heute ist nicht Checkmates Tag. Also, das da ist nicht Checkmates Tag. Er fuckt jeden Death-Blossen ab bis jetzt.
And then also Checkmate able to just pop off on the Reaper. Now there was one moment where we were talking about Gator using the Primal Rage, and he actually had to use the Primal Rage a little bit earlier than I think he would have liked, because what happens is he's like around the corner by the pillar, and then Checkmate comes flying around and uses Death Blossom, and Gator's got a, you know, one of two options, right? It's either pop Primal, live and get out, or, you know, just kind of stand there and die, right? I mean, he's just going to eventually die to the Death Blossom, the damage. He actually uses the Primal and like starts to try and almost like get him out of the way, but doesn't have the Primal that did knock around Hydron in the back line, and that's when Hydron is able to pick up like 2 kills during that fight and win it for Florida. So just those little things like that, you know, Primal is such a big ability from the Winstons, right? The ultimate to be able to just displace the enemy Sojourner, force cooldowns out, and whether it be Sojourner or Kuriko. Not to have it at that moment, in really one of your only 2, you know, options to have her that ultimate during an attack there is really difficult for Atlanta.
It's bad beats for Kai as well, Matt. The first 2 fights for the Reign, he's the one that serves him up that elimination on Hydron. He finds the first pick in both those engagements. And still, the Reign can't leverage that player advantage into any capture progress whatsoever. No ticks, no nothing. Now the Florida Mayhem's win condition is so clear. Just 1 tick. They'll be taking this map away very quickly. The tables seem to have turned, and Hydron is on the hunt. He wants Kai. He wants him bad. Look how
Oh mein Gott!
belly of the beast he goes, and he gets away with it.
Er hat nicht einen Tick Damage bekommen.
Face to face with Gator, who picks off Margin. Maybe a little overeager for the Mayhem in that fight.
Yeah, I would say so, right? You know, coming flying around.
Holy shit!
He does get Kai weak, but he slides in. They use a protection Suzu. Like, you have to use so many different big abilities there to be able to land that kill, and they don't get it, and then they're just kind of stuck with absolutely nothing. So, Florida getting really aggressive early on. Hydron taking a huge shot.
Das war aber rough, not gonna lie.
Has to get healed up basically from
Wenn,
damage, but
wenn Hydron den Pick hier bekommen hätte, das wäre over.
See, someone he jumps there, but he's not engaging, right? He takes some space, but Hydron is still taken down.
Ja.
The aforementioned trying to take
That's
an
it.
off angle to the left of Kai right now. He just gets picked off. And once you let Kai get started, you're in a lot of danger.
Oh,
Grappling
jetzt.
to get back in the spawn.
Jetzt kommt die ohne Reverse Call. Bis das kommen.
yeah, I think Florida needs to be careful, right? You're taking these fights fast, maybe trying to build up some ultimates. You're not accomplishing that. You haven't really gotten any target in a zone where you would say.
Das Gute ist, Atlanta hat Florida bis jetzt immer schnell gewiped. Bedeutet, Mayhem konnte ja keine wirklichen Ults aufbauen. DPS-Ults. Währenddessen hat Atlanta fast alle Ults. Im nächsten Fight haben sie auf jeden Fall Overclock. Nero müsste auch sein Blossom haben. Und die ersten, die bei Florida Ults bekommen, sind die Supporter-Ults. I don't know. Du wartest spätestens den Fight eigentlich Ultron.
They're like, you know, extremely weak or near death, right? Where you would be a little bit alarmed if you're the Atlanta.
Also ich würde hier definitiv die Overclock erwarten. Auch wenn er erst bei 50 ist.
But other than that, it's been just dominant by Atlanta. You can see it in terms of the ultimate charge.
Einfach durch den Fakt, wie schnell Sojourn Ult bildet.
Safe, very conservative. He's not playing this left angle that he's standing in right now at the start of the fight, right? He's only transitioning there.
Und ich denke, das ist auch der Grund, warum er hier Overclock gezogen hat. Maybe hat auch eine Support Ult erwartet, also das Team. Kitsuni? Der Blossom? Big? Big für Mayhem? Oh no. Checkmate hat der Blossom war.
And I feel like Checkmate is really the big difference between these two teams on this map, because Atlanta's D was looking pretty good there for a bit, Mitch, and then once
für alle Ults, die Checkmate eben abgefuckt hat. Nobody cares.
Primal Rage, like basically to death in a corner, uses Wraith Form to get out, and then once he gets in towards that back line, I know he is just dominance there from Checkmate.
In a matchup of super
Das ist auch nicht Checkmate rumzuhelfen. Hat doch alle passiert. Ich hätte hier auf keinen Spieler rum. Ich respektiere jeden, der No-Man ist. Wenn es nicht so vorkommt. Zählt ja einfach nur obvious Sachen auf. Ja, neueren Spieler, das eventuell sind und sich für OWL interessieren. Und sich hinterfragen, wie die Comp funktioniert.
One of those, the first fight in Eichenwalde with the Florida Mayhem just sent Hydra, and he dove into the Atlanta Rain, backed up, of course, by Margit on that Kiriko. It didn't work out, but you can kind of see the game plan. Take Kai down at any cost.
And what's your opinion here on this? Because I think this is a map that it's probably a lot harder to play the Reaper on. I mean, you're still going to play it, right? But just harder than a map like Eichenwalde, right? Like Eichenwalde, a lot of different, area of the map that you can kind of get behind cover, use.
Actually, da bin ich beim Caster. Ich finde, das ist ein guter Punkt. Auf der Map Reaper zu spielen, ist ein bisschen tricky. Weil du halt nur Sideline hast, du hast halt nicht wirklich die Punkte zu fighten, außer den Choke. Den direkten Choke. Und deswegen verstehe ich auch nicht, warum Mayhem das hier nicht close halten. Mit der Comp ist es so gut, close zu halten. Du hast einen Lucio, du hast einen Winston, du hast einen Reaper, du hast eine Kiriko und eine Sojourn. Alle 5 Klassen haben so ein hohes Movement, dass du direkt backuppen kannst, sobald hier irgendwas schief geht. Und dann den Choke auf der Tanke spielen.
Different routes, the TP. Route 66 is, obviously
And a wasted opportunity.
in terms of wide open, but it is pretty open. The areas where the fights take place are more lengthy, choke points, where I think it could be a little bit harder to get value out of Reaper in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the flanking routes aren't exactly as plentiful on a map that's more.
Hier? Ich sag's immer wieder auf dieser Map. Ich werde es auch nicht lassen. Wieso spielen Low-Rank-Spieler, und damit meine ich auch Platin, diesen Choke? Es macht null Sinn. Es macht null Sinn, diesen Choke zu spielen. Dieser Highground ist useless. Hier zu stehen als Tank oder keine Ahnung was, ist useless. Du spielst diesen Highground und contestest, sobald das Card hier vorne an der Ecke ist. Du spielst entweder Klaus oder hier den Show. Nichts dazwischen. Please don't do that.
More sort of, singular level. Of course, big Earls is a factor here, but trying to obscure your position as Reaper can be difficult. Sometimes that's why teams don't play forward and actually hold big Earls to give a decent flank angle to their Reaper, who can head up to the cave on the right-hand side, or flank.
Ja. Deswegen spielt man einen Show. Hydron hat den Highground. Oder allgemein Florida hat den Highground hier. Atlanta muss da reinpushen. Der einzige Weg, wie sie da reinpushen können, ist über den Highground. Guess what? Sie müssen hier hochlaufen, werden hier spätestens gespottet an der Ecke und müssen dann all den Weg da durchlaufen bis zur Tür und werden dann da gespottet. It doesn't work.
Behind that sign. Hydron hears this. He hears Nero teleport into what we believe is the lower level of Big Earls. We see him there in the wireframe. So
Das ist der Punkt, wo du contestest.
very aware of when the Reaper may come knocking.
Yeah, a Reaper, not the
Der Winston Reaper wird hier droppen
flank hero with his teleport just screams
und das Card gleich contesten.
Exactly.
Just
Ja.
right on the other side of Big Earls, but no, Atlanta's gotten a decent
Ganz mehr ist gedroppt. Okay, that's fine too.
no,
Das Gute ist, ich gehe davon aus, die wurden hier oben gepressured. Das Gute für Atlanta jetzt hier ist, dass sein Sojourn Highground ist. Noch besser, sie ist hinter dem Schild. In dem Moment. Das heißt, der einzige Weg, wie Sojourn jetzt wieder Pick machen kann, ist, indem sie den Highground da hochläuft. Und sobald Sojourn den oder den anderen Highground wieder nimmt, wird Gator sie einfach diven.
before this fight kicked off, like Florida's had to back up numerous times where, you know, you lose this.
That's how it goes.
It's gonna be a one fight point 8 take, which is great for the Atlanta Reign.
So I'm looking for the counter dive here from Florida, right? They're giving a bit of ground. They're allowing the Reign to potentially
Bit of
overextend
ground.
themselves.
I mean,
Hier spielst du daneben als Florida. An dem Checkpoint. Du hast den Choke und den Choke. Spätestens hier spielst du daneben. Kommt auf die Chords an. Hier daneben zu spielen, macht jetzt nicht viel. Aber ab hier, ja, it's worth.
There it is.
they almost have the payload home.
But there it is. They eventually able to carve Gator away from the rest of the Atlanta Reign. So their patience really pays off there, man.
I am more of a fan of seeing that earlier fight. I mean, here's
Zuni für Mayhem.
here from the Florida Mayhem, so you actually have to use this ultimate, you know, just to be able to live and maybe solidify the fight in your favor. They're gonna have to back up now. I mean, how do you like that passive play?
Das Ding ist, Atlanta hat jetzt auch Kitsune Wash und Overclock. Animal hat auch sein
Now
Beat.
you burn that ultimate,
Er wird
right?
das Counter bieten.
They're both support ultimates, and the payload very close to
Oh.
completion. Oh, that would have been a big shot.
This is a problem, big problem. Hydron has to now face Nero, 1 versus 1 for a time. Yeah, the entirety of the Mayhem, or at least half of them, have to double back, and that allows Kai to find
Das ist scary.
amongst the thinning mass of Mayhem players. Now they're being stretched across the map here. Atlanta can now start to poke at some of these weaker extremities and start to punish this.
Das ist scary.
Okay, Kai, looking like a very nasty
He's dead.
mural on the wall of Big Earls there.
And this is massive from the Florida Mayhem. You know, you're able to stay alive on the payload while someone is juggling Kai inside of Big Girls, gets him out of the fight. I believe you had Animo and Checkmate there able to do so, stay alive for a period. You know, if you're able to hold this here, it's because you were able to just stall that out for a while.
All right, OG down. Crucially, Gator is still in play here. It can be healed up by Ultraviolet.
Kai muss hier ein paar Picks machen.
Checkmate is the cactus upon which the rain
Huge!
falls. Perfect. He catches him with open arms and a Hellfire shot.
Huge Plasma from Checkmate.
Great turnaround there, considering that, you know, Margin not really in the picture through much of that fight. Someone gets picked off because there's not enough healing and still the
Ich war mir nicht sicher, was ich zu dem Blossom sagen soll.
It's so
Ich hab mal rein und hier auf den Killfeed guckt.
alive for a period.
Du hast hier deinen Winston und Lucio. Der Winston ist fucking
You know,
one.
if you're able to hold this here, it's because you were able to just
Stirbt
stall
hier
that out
sogar. Und jetzt contestest du hier mit 3 Leuten dein Card.
for a while.
All right, OG down. Crucially, Gator is still in play here. It can be healed.
Na mein, mittlerweile sind's 4. Und I don't know. I actually don't know about that.
Healed up by Ultraviolet. Death Blossom though. Checkmate is the cactus upon which the rain fall. Perfect. He catches him with open arms and the Hellfire shotguns go to work. Great turnaround there, considering that, you know,
Huge.
Margin not really in the picture through much of that fight. Someone gets picked off because there's not enough healing and still the Mayhem hang on.
Ich denke, es war der richtige Call.
It's so difficult. I mean, you see,
Da kurz zu drücken.
it's really just Kai in someone inside of Big Girls. There's a few.
Der Call hätte auch sein können, hier safe zu spielen für Florida und das Cut durchpushen zu lassen. Aber ich denke, Florida war so in diesem Fight-Flow drin, dass sie gemerkt haben, okay, wir dominieren das jetzt. Ab einem gewissen Punkt merkst du das ja, wenn deine Gegner dann einfach anfangen, S zu drücken in der Regel. Als Team erst drücken. Und Checkmate hat sich gedacht, na, fuck that, I'm out. Nobody gets out. Matt Lindner wird einen Soft Reset machen.
Wraith form to be able to live for a little bit longer, be invulnerable. And then Animo on the Lucio, so slippery to hit, they're not able to get those players off the point.
Foxy is on. The main
Oh.
the rush here. Paving the pink road as they charge ahead.
Nicer Pick für
Checkmate leading the charge.
Hydron.
Where's Gator gonna go?
Checkmate ist der neue Tank.
The end of the chasm by the looks of things. An hour, 23 seconds left. The Atlanta Reign.
Scheiß auf Doom, Reaper ist der neue Tank.
Real quick. These two support ults are gonna be absolutely essential.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have sound
Actually.
barrier for Florida Mayhem and Animo.
Mit den 250 HP,
Like,
actually.
behind this, or you try and force this fight. Atlanta Reign trying to go in. They're gonna sound barrier first.
Yeah, both
What?
teams actually end up getting the beats off there. OG really wants to get this fight started up.
Sind die Beat bekommen?
Behind this,
In der
or you
Bubble?
try and force this fight. Atlanta Reign trying to go in. They're gonna sound.
Nero kann.
Yeah,
Oh.
both teams actually end up getting the beats off there. OG really wants to get this fight started
Ah.
up. Kitsune Rush thrown down and a disengage from the main.
Ich dachte, Bubble blockt den Beat.
Wait it out.
This might expose them though to getting picked up.
Oder war es maybe ein Friending?
Space to find a kill on OG. Not too shabby, but Ultraviolet turns up and those kunai are going to work, shredding through the Florida Mayhem. And it looks like those double support ultimates are the difference maker in the end.
Yeah, have that extra support ultimate was key. Florida Mayhem, I actually really like how they play that though. They end up disengaging like you mentioned, and they actually jump right in, and I think what they're trying to play for, I mean, you lose, I believe you lose Animo really early at the hands of Ultraviolet. What they're trying to play for is someone getting that primal rage, as we see this from UV's POV.
Huge.
Yeah, he's able to get Checkmate and Animo. But they're trying to play for there is like if those two players can live, those are the two players key installing the previous one out. If those two players can live, someone gets primal and they keep that going. That's what they're really trying to do with that disengage.
Oh, that was dangerous. Lining up on the stairs like that. It's an easy railgun shot for Kai to send the killer. Checkmate's gone down and primal rage here from someone. To what end? I've got to ask. He goes deep, should be able to climb back out and join the rest of his team, but Gator is sowing disarray in the backline himself.
Yeah, someone has to bail. I mean, he is so low. He actually goes back and gets the mega health pack. I think like he's almost like behind Big Earl. It's overclock both teams.
Oh, there's two.
Fantastic. Hydron was probing for something just like that, but Nero prefers the more brute force approach. No finesse required as he spins to win. Checkmate though is going to get away with this. I can't believe it. Makes out like an absolute bandit. Slams down that Reaper ultimate, and the Reign do not have the ability to get away.
Checkmate is so happy he is not playing tank anymore for the Florida Mayhem. So he is able to just do stuff like that. Looks like Nero, he gets that one kill. Looks like he's gonna, make it out with his life. He's got Wraith 4. He's just staring down Checkmate with the Death Blossom there. It's nothing he can do. Not able to survive.
Okay. Atlanta hatte zwei Optionen. Sie nehmen den High Ground. Sie nutzt einen Cooldown, um den High Ground hier zu nehmen. Was dumm wäre. Laufen jetzt hier einmal hinten rum, machen einen Backstep. Und wenn Florida das falsch rotiert, können sie auch mit der Payload wegsneaken. Keiner. Ist aber ziemlich risky. Ja. Ich denke, der Winston wird hier in den Highcount springen, weil der Highcount ist toll. Und that's the game.
Long enough past that, but
Ich würde behaupten, sie laufen hier. Hier hoch. Und maybe dann hier raus. Aber jetzt, sie können auch noch hier unten durchgehen, aber kommt das selber
Atlanta
raus.
trying to do like a little bit of a, they're trying to like be a little bit sneaky.
Ja.
Right? They get in towards the saloon. It gives
Der Grund, warum ich das hier nicht mag. Warum ich es auch am Anfang nicht gesagt habe. Wenn du hier rausgehst, passiert nämlich genau das. Florida droppt einfach auf dir. Und du kannst eigentlich nichts machen.
go out the backside, come back out the front.
Ja.
Just make it
Das ist der Red Call hier wieder zu backuppen.
Doesn't take much to slow the rain down though. Disrupt the shot, throw it in the doorway. The Mayhem are savvy to what the Rain are trying to pull off here.
Violet will jetzt hier über die lange Strecke am besten ihr Kitsune Rush machen.
By Ultraviolet, so the Rain have to come up with something and do it soon.
Und das ist das, was ich am Anfang gemeint habe. Sie machen den Backstep.
Might have been trying to like bait, whether like if someone would have jumped down, they could have Kitsune Rush and just charged him down really quick. I think they were trying to bait them in there.
How do they line up a good Kitsune Rush now? Look at the Mayhem, they're playing the high ground here. They're playing really quite sparsely and safe. They're going to go for it anyway though. Sound barrier here for the Florida Mayhem, but Hydron is king of the hill for the time being.
I know it's bad for Florida.
With a glint in his eye.
Ja, da bekommt er definitiv Bramble. Er darf nicht sterben. Ah, what do I say? Ich hab den Caster Curse.
Of course, as those railguns ring out, and the Florida Mayhem stop the rain in their tracks.
Is it just me, or it's a really bizarre offense there from the Atlanta Reign? And I say that because they actually almost like get that second checkpoint. It just felt like they didn't really win any fights, right? I mean, Florida gave up so much payload progress for absolutely nothing at the start, and then just kind of held it right before for the entire time, pretty much. It's one fight that goes Atlanta's favor there, and then once the gate opens, it's basically one fight that goes Atlanta way there, and then it's just all Florida mayhem. Just when you see an offense that's so one-sided in terms of fights, typically you don't see the payload obviously go that far. Like you would have seen it, just end before that A checkpoint. But Atlanta is able to get a lot of free payload progress and then take advantage of that.
Well, you kind of hinted at this map selection maybe being something to try and cater to Kai. But he's not able to have impact at all. This is Checkmate turning this fight around, by the way. Look at how low his health is. Look at how low it is. Unreal. Talk about, flipping the script on the Atlanta Reign there. They thought they had Checkmate 6 feet under at that point.
He was awesome on Eichenwald, and here again on Route 66.
Observers, do you have to...
They look like teeth.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. You cannot unsee it now.
I mean, I've seen it, and I can unsee it.
I was just reminded, though. Again, Kai, one final blow, 5 deaths on that attacking side. He isn't able to find the angles to punish. Hydron having a lot more success on the